thing. It says we're live. So, hey, welcome to the Right Review. I am obviously not Annie McDonald. I am Nola Nash, and I am so excited to be chatting today with Kiersten Modglin. She's a local Tennessee girl right here in the same spot. So I was super excited to get to be interviewing her today. And it's launch day. Like, you've got this great book out, and I love the cover. It is really just the hand on the wedding ring. It's like, ooh, we know what's happening in this book.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. It's like, oh, gotta read this. Oh my gosh. It sounds so exciting. And yet at the same time, it's like almost cringy. Like, who would decide to make an arrangement like that? That can't end well.
I know.
It doesn't end well. It's like, don't do it. I love the premise of this book. So I'm going to go ahead and invite folks to put comments in here. We'll get to some that we can. And guys, if you've not given StreamYard permission to use your Facebook profile, go ahead and drop your name in your comments so we know who's here joining us. We do have some comments coming in. Let's just hear Sarah's here. Welcome, ladies. So as you guys are joining us, let us know you are out there in Facebook land. Sharon's here. Sharon Person's here. Hi from Minnesota. Kiersten and I were just talking about that it's cold in Tennessee. And so Minnesota, and you were in our thoughts and prayers because we're struggling here in Tennessee cold. I cannot even imagine. I mean, I've been to Minnesota in January. I don't know that I would survive it again. This Southern girl cannot do that. So power to you up there in the north in this cold blast that we've got. So Kiersten, this is a very twisty, just wild ride that this book is, and just by the synopsis that I have read, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this book, and we'll talk about where we can get this book in just a little while too. But this book is wild. Now, all of your books are very twisty. You've got lots of twisty thrillers out there in the world, and we love them very much. And I know Annie's a huge fan here at the Right Review too. So tell us a little bit about this story. Of course, we're not giving any spoilers here, folks, but you're the one to tell us everything we need to know without giving anything away, because I certainly don't want to do that.
All right. So
don't trust me with that. I get too excited.
I know it's so easy to let something slip. So this is the arrangement. It is about Peter and Ainsley, and they are a married couple who are starting to struggle. Their kids are grown, or teenagers. They're just kind of falling apart, and they decide that the way to fix their marriage is to have an arrangement, and they're each going to date someone new once a week, and they're not going to tell each other anything about what happens, who they're going with, what they're doing, where they're going, anything. It's all a secret, and it starts out okay, and then quickly takes a nosedive when one of the rules gets broken, and then it goes very dark from there, and they are on a twisted journey trying to fix the mistakes that they have made.
I mean, that whole premise. Now, first of all, I got to ask, have you ever known anybody who has put that particular kind of spice in their marriage? Or, I mean, is this something that you came up with because you've known someone who had this arrangement before? Or is this just like, what if this happens?
If I did, my friends would kill me for talking about it. No.
Right, we want her any feelings today on the show.
No, I don't know anyone who's done it personally, but it's something that I think we've all seen on like TV shows or just different things. And of course, normally it doesn't go well. But it's just something that I've always kind of found shows and movies about that, the whole subject and arrangements and all of that. I've always found it really interesting. And I read The Swap this year from Robin Harding. That was one of the books that I really loved, which is kind of a similar premise. And I've just always been really kind of fascinated by it. And I was like, I want to make this as dark as it can go and take just this kind of common thing that's, that we all hear about and make it very dark and twisty and fun. And yeah, it was.
So you are such a bubbly, fun person, and you write some dark and twisty things.
Yeah.
How do you get in that headspace to do that? How do you put aside your like, I'm Kiersten, and I'm so happy to be here. And then, like, I'm going to destroy these lives. How do you do that?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is something I've heard my whole life because I love all kinds of thrillers. I love true crime. I read like the darkest, grittiest books. I watch shows that scare my husband, and he's like, I can't watch this. Like, I'm leaving the room. I love all that stuff. And so I've always been told. I spoke at a local Lions Club in my town, and the host was like, "You're such a sunshiny person compared to like your books. Like, it's just wild." And I think that's just like everybody has different sides of their personality, and I can kind of put, turn my crazy into my books, and then be normal in the daytime. But have all those, like, all the things that come from the shows and books and movies that I like, and just go like full force into my books with all of the madness.
I'm waiting on somebody to jump in the comments and go, "Hello, Nola, pot, calling the kettle black here." It's like, my books, I kill off everybody just relentlessly. It's like, sorry, you gotta die. You're one of my favorite characters, but you gotta die. And I mean, I do these horribly dark books too. And it's like, how do you do it? So whenever I meet anybody that is just a sunshiny person, like they said, I always gotta ask, how do you get into that headspace? Because I think we all have our ways to do it. Yeah. Mine is just, I have to really be in the mood, like turn all the lights off and, like, candles on, moody music, or just really get mad at somebody. Like, I find my best writing days when it's time to write something dark and kill off people. I write my best death scenes when I am just ticked off at somebody, even if it's somebody who just cut me off in traffic. Like, that's how it's like, channel it. So I'm glad to know that other people out there are bubbly and vicious all at the same time.
I don't really have to turn it on either. I usually write with all the lights on because I scare myself. And I wrote this book while listening to a Shawn Mendes love song the whole time. So it's like, I don't even need to put myself there. I can just go.
Okay, that's scary.
Kind of is. Everyone's like, I'm worried for your husband. Like, he knows.
One of those things where too many ways to get rid of him. So he's going to have to be a very good boy.
Yes, exactly. Luckily, he doesn't read my books, so he doesn't know the extent of how crazy I can get, I guess.
I feel like perhaps he should, just to know a little. Maybe read one. I feel like you need some preparation. Sarah said she was thinking she was going to let it slide. Yeah, Sarah knows. She's read my books. Like, wow. Yes, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. Oh, looks can be deceiving. Lisha says, yep. Okay, that was hilarious. That is very funny. So, as you're working on this book and you're writing all of this, anything that you are writing all of these twisty, books, how do you promote something that is so twisty amongst people that may not like those twisty kind of thriller books? How do you position it to people who are like, I normally read women's fiction and they're happy, or I read the Hallmark rom-coms. How do you turn them on to something like your books? Because I got to tell you, I think everybody should read these kinds of books. I mean, they are fascinating because it is kind of one of that, it could be you, it could be like you don't all of these worlds. It's like that happily ever after, but then, they ride off into the sunset, but the sun comes up the next day. What happens then? That's kind of how I see books like this. It's like, well, they started off riding off into the sunset. I mean, they wouldn't be married. They wouldn't be where they are if they didn't have those moments. Yeah. So is this then the sun came up kind of a thing? Is that how you position it to people? That type of explanation?
Yeah, I think it's so funny because so my early books were thrillers, and then I kind of veered off and went into kind of romantic suspense. And I had a lot of readers join my books, and I only have 5 that are romantic suspense out of 22. But they kind of started reading me when I was writing romance, and then I went back to my roots of writing thrillers. And a lot of them were like, I don't know, I'm going to give it a try, but this really isn't me. And I've had so many people be like, I've never read a thriller before until I read your work. And so I think, and loved it. And I think that the biggest thing is my books at the end of the day are about people and about characters, the same as any other book. They deal with real emotions and real relationships. And so I think that even if you're not sure if you can, deal with the darkness of the books, or if you're not sure that you're really into the twist, if you like books that are about relationships and that will make you feel something, whether that's, being scared or being sad or being upset or being really angry for a character, my books will make you feel that. And so I think the twists just add to the fun. They're my favorite things. But at the end of the day, they're just stories about people. And so I think that's every story,
I like that perspective too, because every relationship does not end with a happily ever after. I mean, these types of situations, as extreme as they get in a book, and we do kind of bring them to an extreme to have that kind of emotional response that we really are pulling out, and to make that such a strong response in the reader. Right. But these are not necessarily uncommon things in relationships. This is more real life. This is a lot of marriages, kind of, in relationships, and just people in general, whether it's a marriage or not. Humans get themselves into some pickles, and they don't always end well. And sometimes it's one little thing that can derail the whole thing. And of course, in an arrangement like this, you got to think, anytime a marriage dives very deeply into secrecy, that's where the trouble starts. I mean, if it was one of those things where it was, okay, we're going to add a little spice to our relationship here, things have kind of chilled, and we're, it's just not the relationship we had. If we do these dates, then if they were coming back and telling everything, well, then that might actually be a little different. It may be less likely to derail. But the fact that the rule was, we tell nothing.
Yes.
And that's the key, I think, to
that's where the trouble starts.
Unraveling. I like that. I mean, I like it as a terrible book that goes, not a great book that goes terrible ways. Good
yes.
Lord.
And I think my books, I always try, I've always said, my books are about regular people who make one wrong decision and things spiral down. And that's kind of something that I carry through all my books. So it really is truly something that your friend could have tried, or your teacher at school, or whatever, your people that in your real life could have gone through the things that are in my books. And it's just it's one of those where you get to a point and you're like, how did we get here? And so they're almost like warning tales of, don't do this, because this could happen to you.
This arrangement is a terrible thing to do. Don't do this. Yes. And like Alicia said, things are very complicated. Relationships are complicated. We think that we know people. We think we know the mask that they put on for their friends, their family, the public in general. But oftentimes there are very deep and many, many layers to a relationship that no one knows about except for the people who are in that relationship. And so that is an interesting thing to explore. And you do a lot of that kind of the layers and what people don't know, that's out there in your books. And I think that is what makes it one of those hang onto your edge of your seat kind of things, because like you said, one thing, one mistake. And sometimes the people have the best of intentions of trying to fix it, as opposed to, nobody goes, that was a horrible mistake, let me go make another one. But it's it kind of unleashes that chain of events that sometimes it's that boulder rolling downhill. You can't stop it.
Exactly.
And what happens? How do you actually keep from crashing alongside of it? People crash. People do bad things, and it's not good.
And I like to tell my readers too, with 2020 being as bad as it was, I was like, if I brought you nothing else, I hope I brought you comfort in knowing that you are not living one of my novels.
There you go. Let's just put that out there. Yes. At the very least, we're not in one of Kiersten's books.
Exactly.
Just as long as we don't make arrangements like this, people take Kiersten's advice. This isn't a good arrangement. It's a great book. It is not the arrangement you want to make.
So it is not a how-to novel. It is not.
Not a how-to novel at all. No. And it's a how-to not.
Exactly.
It's a how-to not. I like it should come with a warning. Do not try this at home.
This is not a marriage self-help guide, guys. Don't read it for that.
Be very intentional about where that shows up in the bookstore. Notice the label on the shelf. Does not say self-help.
No, not at all.
No, absolutely not. So if you had something that you wanted to kind of talk about that's coming up for you, what would that be? What are you working on now? I mean, we have the arrangement, it's out. I know that's one of those things that launch day, you're like, oh my God, so much excitement. But what readers often realize is that authors are working on other things. There are things coming down the pipe. We've moved on since this book got turned over and finalized. So what have you got going on now?
Yeah, so I have written two novels since I finished this book. So yeah, I'm a little bit ahead of where this was. I just finished a book on Monday night, or actually very early Tuesday morning. So I just finished my next release that night, and I've got that coming up, and I've got some really exciting news that I'll be announcing, but I can't announce yet, on Tuesday next week. So got some really big, exciting stuff coming in February for sure.
Oh, so if folks want to be on the lookout for that announcement on Tuesday, where do they need to go to find that?
They will see it on any of my social media channels. So if you want to go to my Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, I will be announcing at some point that day.
That is very, very exciting. Very exciting. So now you've got your own family going on. You've got books launching. It's dead of winter. What are you doing with yourself when you're not writing?
Oh my gosh. Is there a time like that?
In those 5 or 6 minutes a day.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I really about have that free time because I do write pretty much all day long. But I have a little girl who just turned 4 and a husband and 2 spoiled pups, and we are just hanging out and relaxing, and we just celebrated her birthday, and I think we're going to do like a little quick trip out of town and stay at like an Airbnb and relax for a little while at some point here soon, just to kind of get out of the house and try something new. Yeah.
You've definitely earned it.
I've tried.
You've earned it. So have you always, you're writing full time now, correct?
Yes.
How long have you been writing full time?
For a little over 2 years now. I went full.
I'm jealous. So jealous.
I'm trying to think. February of 2019 is when I went full time. So almost 2 years, I guess.
So how did it feel the day that you said, that's it, this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to write full time. What did that feel like?
Well, terrifying, because I was not at all ready to be doing it. I did it more out of, I wanted to do it and I loved writing. I was not at all making enough money to be doing it. But we just kind of took a gamble because I had a very young daughter and I was trying to work a full-time job and deal with my books, and it just kind of got to be a lot. And so we just decided to try it out and see how it went. And luckily it has been a, positive. And over the course of 2 years, there were definitely some low times, but now this year, yeah, especially, but 2020 turned out really good. And I had a lot of releases last year, and my career has definitely gone up, and it's just very freeing. I mean, I've always wanted to be a writer like when I say that, I don't mean for the last 10 years. Like when I was in 4th grade, I was writing novels for my classmates and like passing them around.
I love that.
I have always wanted to be a writer. And so it's still surreal to me. It's still crazy that I get to wake up and do this and live my dream and write books for people. And so it's a wonderful feeling for sure.
Well, you having a small child, and that in itself is a full-time job. I mean, I've had 3. It's a full-time job. Even as they get older, it becomes a full-time job too. I don't think it's ever not a full-time job. No. So saying that, you stepped away from a full-time job to be at home and be a mom and a writer, I don't know so much that you actually gave yourself any more time in doing that. I think the acceptance of this is what I want to do, and the gift of kind of releasing yourself from this is a hobby to this is who I am.
Yeah.
Seems to be more the decision that was made there. And I love that. I am so jealous of the people who can do that and make that choice. But what an empowering thing to do. Terrifying. I can totally believe that.
Terrifying.
But also just so empowering. And what a lucky girl you are to have a husband who said, yep, we're going to do that.
Yes.
You are blessed.
It was a very hard time for a little while. But like I said, it got to be a point where it just wasn't working like it was. And so we just kind of took a shot, and we struggled for a long time. But it was very good for my daughter. I was getting to be home with her. You know, she wasn't having to go to daycare. She was getting to be home with me. I was getting to do what I love. And then in March of last year, my husband got laid off. Because of COVID, and my books had started doing really well as of like February. And so he's actually now home full time with my daughter. And so it's kind of been like you supported me for a year and let me do my dream. And now like I'm able to take care of us. And yeah, it's really been just like one of those stories that you'd read in a book, but it's my real life.
I was about to say, you could write this. This is where you go back to your romantic side, because that's the romance novel story over there. You know, you support me, I support you, and see, that's just so sweet. And then you go write these horrible things and watch scary movies that run him out of the room.
Exactly. My life isn't chaotic, so I have to make my books chaotic.
There you go. See, I'm kind of the other way around. Like I have this very chaotic life and world and all of these things, and I write because I can control that world. It's like, I tell you what to do. I decide who lives and who dies. It's like, It's like, you know, I don't know. I guess all writers in their way have a tiny touch of that God complex because we are in control. Like the words on the page are there because I put them there.
Yes. As a writer, I don't remember who said it. I read something somewhere that said, as a writer, you have to like believe that you are the best thing that ever happened to the world for a little bit, because you have to be brave enough to put your work out there. And I think that's
absolutely
so true.
I absolutely agree. I mean, that is one of those terrifying things people don't necessarily know unless they've experienced it kind of as an author, is when your book makes it out into the world. And I don't think it matters how many books you've put out into the world. When you put that next one out into the world, you're both excited and freaked out because I worked so hard on this. It's so wonderful to me, but will it be wonderful to them? I don't know. And you don't know until it's out there.
No.
And so
I'm telling
that's where reviews come in. We love getting those reviews because we need to go, okay, I can breathe now.
Yes. I'm 22 books in, and I swear every single time I send it to a beta reader, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the one where they're like, you've lost your touch. This was not good. Then I get good feedback, and then I send it to my ARC readers, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be where they're like, Kiersten's other books were good, but I didn't like this one. It's like every single time, 22 books in, I'm like, this is the one. I know this is it. This is the end of my career.
Everyone. I think 22 books in, you've got enough experience. You can probably just relax on that point just a little bit.
I always worry about it. I told one of my readers, she was talking about the reviews, and she said that she was like, they look so good. I can't wait to read it. And I was like, yeah, I was really nervous about this. She was like, why? Is it different? And I was like, no, I was just convinced I'd lost my touch, like usual.
And, you know, I don't think they understand how much writers value the reviews that come in and how validating they are for what we've poured our heart and soul into.
Yeah.
And, you know, we always feel like beggars. Please go review our book. Please post a review on Amazon. Please, please, please. We'll give stuff away if you do. And, you know, I hate that part of being an author. And yet at the same time, I love to see the reviews come in because it's almost like someone complimenting your child. You know, you're so proud of your kid and they're out there doing their thing. And someone says, you know, your kid is just the cutest little thing. And, you know, you feel so good. You know, you only had partly something to do with that cuteness, but you're so happy to hear them say that. And you always go, thank you. Like you were entirely responsible for that. It was all me. I mean, it's whatever. Genetics, you know, God-given talent, whatever. No, it was all me.
It was all me.
I know. So that's kind of how we feel about reviews. And I know there are authors out there that will say, I never look at reviews. I never look at reviews. I don't honestly believe that when anybody says that, they may not anymore. They may have gotten to a point in their career where they don't look at them, but I'm sorry. I'm going to look at the reviews. And if you're 22 books in and you're still going, yep, We like the reviews.
This one's good. Now, I will say, I read the ARC Reader reviews. I read like the first week of reviews, and then I get out of there because my reviews terrify me after a little while. Once it starts going outside of my circle, I'm like, nope, I'm done.
And yet they're all still really good. I mean, you get great reviews on your work. And it's nice to have them out there. And I don't know how many viewers really understand how powerful their reviews are as far as getting the books in front of new readers. And that's one of those things. I mean, if we have just our friends and family were to review, well, then just our friends and families are going to see that. But as we get those reviews from different people and coming in from different places, it works with the algorithms. Algorithms. That always sounds so frightening. But we need the algorithm to work in our favor. And so the more that we have reviews out there, then the more that these folks are helping to spread the word. And we appreciate that. Even if we don't get a chance to look at every single one of them, the fact that they're going in there is valuable to the authors that you love. So whether it's, whether this is the first book by Kiersten that you guys have read, or you've read all 22 of her books, please don't hesitate to leave these reviews. And this is a great one, y'all. This is fantastic. And I do love the cover. Do you get any say in the cover?
I designed the cover.
You do?
I design all my covers. So, yeah.
I love it.
I really struggled with this one. Thank you.
Epic. I love that picture. Like I said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I don't care. People judge a book by its cover.
Yeah,
that is such a stupid saying, not to judge a book by its cover. Because what do? We go, ooh, that picture looks cool. We turn it over. We read the back of the book, and then we decide we're going to buy that book. So I'm sorry, the cover is awesome, and that I love how much it tells about the story, and yet leaves you wondering, how is this going to go? Because with just her finger on that wedding ring, it's like,
yes. It's so cool.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's like how suspenseful. It's one picture. It doesn't really do anything, but it's just you get that feeling. I love it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, there could be no other picture that would sum up this particular arrangement quite like that one. Quite like that one. Well, I am going to let you tell us where all we can find you. You've got Facebook and Twitter. How do they find you on Twitter and Instagram?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is Kiersten Modglin Author. And then on Twitter, it's just K Modglin Author. So you can find me there. My name is very unique. There are no others out there. If you search me, you're going to find me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so, guys, if you get a chance, please review the arrangement. I think you're going to be running to those sites to post a review after this one. So once you manage to ungrip the edge of your seat, go ahead and run to your typewriter. Good God.
We're going way back. Typewriter in the days of Amazon.
It looks like one, but I don't actually.
Cool.
I like them, but this is a Bluetooth typewriter, so please, y'all, I'm not that old.
That's so cool.
Look at this. It's my favorite thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it makes clicky clack sounds.
Oh my God, that's so cool. The things we get excited about.
It makes clicky clack sounds.
I would write so much better on that from the sound.
I do. I had to get my fingers used to where the keys were, but then it was like, I keep wanting to write. So when I say typewriter, y'all, this is why I said that. Because I feel like I'm on my little typewriter and it's like my new favorite thing. It was my birthday present to myself. I was very excited about it. So yes, so make sure that you're getting over there and you are writing a review for the arrangement. And I can't wait to read it. I mean, all I've seen is the synopsis of I'm ready to dig in because it sounds amazing. And Kiersten, do you have signed copies in Nashville at Parnassus? Are you going to have signed copies at Parnassus?
Of this book, I don't have them yet, but they will be there eventually. They do have most of my books, but just not these just yet.
Okay. Awesome.
And I'll also have them on my website as of February. I'm going to start selling all of my books signed copies. So you can check
awesome.
But definitely support indie bookstores. I'm not telling you not to do that. So
yes, we love our indie bookstores. And as a post I put out today is, there's some great reviews to read on Amazon, but, read and post reviews there, but go buy them from the local shops, y'all. They're doing everything they can to support authors during this time when they can't necessarily be open to browsers. So you can get them online, or you can get them signed copies at Parnassus Books here in Nashville. We love Parnassus. They are huge champions of their local authors, all authors, but their local authors in particular. So if you want a signed copy, it's a great place to get one. And I know that Parnassus will actually, they ship the signed copies, so you can order them there that way as well. So Kiersten, thank you so much. Always a joy talking to you. So great to visit with you again. And I'm so glad that you were able to do this with me tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I had a blast.
Oh, well, best of luck with everything with the arrangement. I know it is going to be a huge success. And so enjoy your little getaway. I'm curious to see where you find to go in these cold temperatures here. So enjoy your launch day. Much love. And thank you so much for joining me. Guys, we will get to those comments and all of the places that we have been. Thank you so much for joining us on The Right Review for this interview with Kiersten Modglin.
Bye.
Bye.